destination, the P.
Okay, folks, I am here. Do not worry, the Fry My Calamari show is here. We are live. Just getting set up. And oh boy, we have pretty crazy news day. We have some pretty wild news to get to, with Trump refusing the Supreme Court order to return an individual from El Salvador. This situation with El Salvador is getting worse by the day. It really seems like it is a long-term plan. Here we go. Hey, folks. Long-term plan for Trump to send people, political dissidents, to this country, and he's paying, what was $6 million a year or something, to house people there. And I think it's probably going to be, I don't care what happens to him after that, since they aren't U.S. citizens. But before we get to that, folks, we have breaking news. We have the latest iDubbbz video. If you don't know who iDubbbz is, that's okay. Look him up, subscribe to him. Great guy. But we have his latest video, The Resurrection of Content Cop, which is a series he used to do, which is basically a takedown of, hate to say it, but we'll just say crappy or morally bankrupt YouTubers, and it's a series he used to do but hasn't done in a long time. I don't know how long it's been, but it's back, and it's on Ethan Klein, it's on H3. This is a big deal. This is huge. Even if you don't know who H3 is, who Ethan Klein is, who iDubbbz is, it's all going to be explained. So just pay attention, strap in. This is going to get exciting. Let's listen to iDubbbz explain everything, the entire drama. What's going on?
Destination.
Oh, okay. Let's make sure we have our volume correct. Get your snackies, get whatever you need, refreshments. This is huge. This is big time, especially considering AB, one of the crew members on the H3 show, he is a boxer in the upcoming Creator Clash, which is an event hosted by iDubbbz and his wife. Pretty big event where different big creators and influencers get together and box. They have professionally organized and refereed boxing matches. So it's a pretty fun, pretty cool event. But what's interesting is AB, being a crew member of H3, is going to be a part of this big production. He's supposed to promote it as well, being a part of it. Don't know if that's going to be happening, but it should be interesting. I bet he isn't talking about it on the show. And as this is breaking, H3 is live right now too, so it could be interesting to check in with them. I don't want to get claimed for copyright, so I probably won't do it while I'm live, but this is some spicy drama, folks. Okay, I won't hold back anymore. Let's get to the juicy deets.
Peach is surprisingly dangerous. Consider the
fucking thing in our defense, like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far, because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
What we do here is go back.
You forced his hand, Ethan Klein. He had no choice. He had to come out of retirement. Get him. Off into the forest he runs.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Awesome broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How?
Oh, this is just too juicy. Even if you don't understand the context of how juicy this is, folks. This is just amazing cinema right here. And yes, that was something Ethan lied about. He said that Hassan's glasses were fake. Yes. He wears fake glasses because they just make him look too damn sexy, I guess.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is
Oh, no.
This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up. Soon, anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wait.
So these are... Whew, I don't know. I need to adjust my mic. These are, in case you didn't know, a bunch of the creators that Ethan has really gone after really hard for being pro-Palestinian.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's telling you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
Okay.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who fucking attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm gonna tell you a story about Ethan Klein.
And what did he do for them to react like that? Let's find out.
I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different
He just showed when they basically had their rip-off of him, which was their content cop show. Which, I mean, I guess it's kind of its own genre. I don't know if iDubbbz was the original guy to do it. I think he's the most well-known for it, for sure.
controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are...
And Ethan sounded like a child from day one, with almost everything he says about the topic contradicting the other things he says. I mean, the biggest giveaway with Ethan Klein is just from the very beginning of when this conflict sparked off. It's not the beginning of the conflict, obviously. It's been going on for many decades, but since October 7th, when it's been at the forefront of the news, Ethan has not been able to deal with it in any way, shape, or form like an adult. And you can just tell from the amount of time that he's covered it since him and Hassan stopped covering it. he mostly avoids the topic, which is fine. He's not running a political show anymore. But then you have to look at the few times when he brings it up. What does he say? Whose side is he talking about? What side is he putting down? I think it was like just shortly after October. Well, it wasn't shortly after. It was, I'm trying to decide if it was before or after he announced that Leftover. I think it was like maybe right after he announced Leftovers was officially done. He had to be forced to say, well, he was getting called out from his audience that he hasn't publicly called for a ceasefire yet. So he's like, well, I have, or whatever, you don't know me, but here I am, I'm publicly calling for a ceasefire then. And it's like, dude, can't you just tell from the tone, your delivery, how late you are, everything about it? And of course, the only part he remembers is, see, I said ceasefire. It's like, yeah, but look at the conditions in which you said it and what caused you to say it. And then I think it was shortly after that was the Aaron Brunell, or whatever his name was. I'm sorry, I feel horrible. I should know that man's name. But that was a man that self-immolated, lit himself on fire to bring attention to the horrendous Palestinian genocide. And Ethan horribly attacked this guy and made fun of him for dying trying to bring attention to the Palestinian cause. For myself and a lot of other people, to me, that's the same as you might as well be saying F the Palestinians, just straight out. Obviously he doesn't see it that way, but for a lot of people that was like a line in the sand right there. That was just, there was no need for him to be so vicious towards that guy. And it was like, oh, the fact that he dare use his life to bring attention to that just really bothered Ethan for some reason. It's like, it's kind of like those context clues and the amount of them that add up that makes you realize, you know, what his real beliefs are. And it's like his veil of wokeness or whatever is thinning. People are seeing through it.
Are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
It's just eating the toppings. And the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think that's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan. Hassan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it.
And this is a fair analysis, but I want to make it clear that he had been cultivating a left-leaning audience for quite a while. He had his whole you know, I'm not part of the right, you know, the alt-right pipeline anymore. He apologized for a lot of his past behavior, things he said online. I believe he deleted his interview. I think he had 1 or 2 interviews with Jordan Peterson. He deleted those, completely erased them from his YouTube channel. And so him teaming up with Hassan was kind of more of this image cultivation that he was doing. It was more of him saying, look guys, I'm on the left. So yeah, he did then get a lot of Hassan fans, but a lot of people were happy to see him team up. They were already individually fans of both of them, like myself. But yeah, I would watch Ethan for the goofs and the gaffes, for just sort of light-hearted, left-leaning lens of just current events, basically, is all he really covers. Like, he just covers random shit that he wants to. And Hassan was more of my, like, serious political news guy. And but I was happy. I thought that was a great team up. I thought it was great for both of them, and it was. So I just wanted to add more context to that. Ethan had been cultivating a left-leaning audience for a while at that point.
It out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position, because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, like crazy, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse, fucking dork. Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no?
No,
not go there?
And it's all culminated, at least for my story.
Shout outs to his crew for trying to temper his stupidity a little bit. But, yeah, they suck now. They pretty much are just enablers, but... there was a time when they were at least trying a little bit to be like, calm down, buddy. You don't need to call her a bitch 25 times in a row. Kind of sounds like you might have an issue with women when you need to say it that many times.
In Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism.
Oh my god, that's straight up defamation, because Hassan doesn't do anti-Semitism of any sort. And if anybody ever says anything anti-Semitic in his chat, I don't know why I was allowing everyone to see Ethan for so long. You want to stare at that. That I lost my thought, but.
And also, he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there.
It's a funny joke, and it is a petty beef. He's not evil. He's not anti-Semitic. He bans anybody anti-Semitic in his chat. You're a liar.
I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered, colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz's former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information, and that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place? If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an...
Yep, these people need to touch grass. Ethan has been just scouring and doom scrolling for a long time. It's been a problem of his for a long time. People have been telling him to get off Twitter for a long time. And he didn't finally get off Twitter until he got literally chased off for being disgustingly gross and racist to this gay guy. I think he's a gay Palestinian guy. Something like that. He ended up getting chased off Twitter. But the point is, the dude's a doom scroller. He will find the most disgusting, negative shit online and make a big deal out of it. Blow it out of proportion. He's famous for doing that. And it's ruining his life.
Account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped...
And that's what I forgot to mention. These are a lot of Destiny transplants that come over from Destiny's world, where they've been trying to destroy Ethan for a long time, and they get off on people crashing out and just seeing negativity in general. I mean, these are just not... They're like the debate perverts, and it's just all revolves around negativity. You know, there's no honest discussions. You know, they're fascists, most of them. They really are. They're just people that want to waste your time, and at the end of the day, they're or fascists or nihilists, cynics, bunch of those, you know, black pill type people, incels. There's a big Venn diagram with those people and like the Destiny crowd for sure.
It's history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch and respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz's feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all...
Yeah, is this like thought police shit? He's talking about his feed and judging him on it? That is really weird. Your algorithm's messed up, man. I can't believe your algorithm would do that to me. And like, how would, where... It's just creepy that you would say you know what his feed is.
For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not gonna throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not gonna throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done, and I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had...
Or a lot of them are just as deranged as Ethan, and he helps them feel, you know, justified in their own existence. So, you know, it helps other people that are unwell feel good about being unwell. Not saying that's everybody, but it is there. I have seen some really disturbed people in his subreddit.
Some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why?
Just look at his eyes and the way he's bouncing. You know, I get it. He's upset, but his eye, it looks, I mean, it's definitely been guessed that he might be taking something as of late. He has certainly lost weight, and he has talked about taking, I don't know if it was Adderall or what the other common newer drug is for, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying I know he did anything, but they were just talking about on stream. He was literally asking AB for some of those pills and saying, oh, we'll talk after, we'll talk on the break. Kind of weird.
Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless, I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And sir,
yeah, it's the same Trump mentality that everything is based off of loyalty. You know, that it's loyalty no matter what. No matter what you did or do, and no matter what I personally think about that, you have to stay loyal to me. That's what a friend is. And just like his other thing, he told Steiny that if you were my friend, you wouldn't have even had Hassan on your show. That is like, I said it before, that is middle school brat, stuck-up behavior. It's totally immature. And it's not a real friend. It's a narcissistic person that just uses people and doesn't. They don't see people as friends. They see them as you know, how can they? What use does this person have to me? And if they don't see any use or loyalty, or you know, then they're not friends anymore. That's just how it works.
Certainly, I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. Like, I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me...
That's so creepy. He really keeps trying to extort people and try to it's so manipulative and trying to control people and what they do, and everything's transactional, and you have to do, man, this is so Trumponian. Like, it's hard not to see the comparisons, but this is like really narcissistic behavior. I won't talk to you on the phone unless you make public statements against, and one's Froggy Tonic, but the other's Denims. The Froggy Tonic one is, at least that's someone that was like worked for him. I do not understand why Denims would even be thrown in there. That just seems totally unrelated for what. Oh my god. To me, this is the first breaking news I've seen, like breaking news. And this is disgusting behavior. This is not a friend. Okay, this is not something that, this is not behavior that this is just cold-hearted business, cutthroat business. You know, I'm not even going to give you a phone call unless you make public statements about these people. Yeah, that's a friend. No, that is extremely manipulative behavior for sure.
Like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hassan actually wants to go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a piece of shit, like, of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him, like, the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement, too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything
and
like
I was supposed to be, like, cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do you forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
Oh, guys. I need to move the fry mic. So every time you've been hearing that, there's been a little halo.
He called her
to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do you forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
Never.
Piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys, and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet. Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because, like, why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why?
That is actually so painful and cringe to watch. Like, knowing that they didn't do jack shit to them.
Why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that one?
Man, like just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes.
What does that say about Ethan's, you know, I mean, he actually was correct there. But the depth of his political analysis should not be forgotten, you know. That's what he's saying live on air to thousands of people, you know. He looked mean. I thought he was mean. Well, yeah, he was mean. He was not a good guy. That's kind of why he's wanted by the International Criminal Court for genocide.
You caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So,
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and.
Yeah, that's just how chronically online Ethan and Hila are. They really consider just following someone on Twitter means you're friends with someone. Like, come on. Twitter is not the real world. It's not how it works. And not only that, but people follow, you know, I follow Trump on Twitter. I follow all sorts of people I don't like on Twitter. Everybody does. Why are you just making all sorts of assumptions? Like, it's just... You're expecting way too much from people when they don't agree with you.
have no spine, and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you. Enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims is
Denim.
actually participating in this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
And if
show you
you're
guys
friends
in a
with
bit.
them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way where it's like, you know, one.
How do they, I hope someday they're able to look back on this and see how childish they're acting. That is just not, I can't be friends with you if you're friends with someone that disagrees with me. I just can't, girl. That is like one of the most low-level childish behaviors you can have. I mean, it's one thing, obviously you choose who you're friends with directly, but you don't get to choose your friends. And I could understand if they're hanging out with some Nazis or something. Yeah, I'm probably not going to hang out with you, but these are just people that disagree with you on a you know, a geopolitical problem. That it does have a lot to do with where you're from. If your family's from a Muslim background, they're probably gonna have a bias one way, and if your family has an Israeli background, you might have a bias the other way. But the facts of the situation, they're not that controversial. That's why Ethan, he knows the correct position is to be pro-Palestinian. It's just that he can't actually get there yet in his mind, okay? He hasn't overcome the propaganda that he's been raised with for many years at this point. But he knows the correct position, so he may get there eventually.
One of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss or anything. I get it. You guys are in fucking, you're either my best friend who's deep throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody, and you know, blah blah blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then, you should have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend? It kind of sounds...
No, it does not. It sounds like some Dr. Evil shit. What the hell is wrong with you, Ethan? This is not how you treat people. You think that because you're right and you're morally superior, that you have some free ticket, some free ticket to act some sort of way, and you just don't. It's not true.
Sounds like something a powerful villain would say.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore. But that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay, do you have anything else to say for your friends, though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick...
Oh, my. Oh, me, oh, my. That is, like, the definition of pearl clutching, what she was doing right there. That is definitionally pearl clutching.
To clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
At least say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually.
She thinks they have a point.
Oh. They're having a moment where they're realizing something.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
Oh.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people. Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed.
And Ethan's basically made it clear on many occasions at this point that he does not want this to stop. It doesn't seem to be anything that would trigger an ending to this crash out. So I'm worried about the man for his health. I would like to see it end. Like I feel the same way as iDubbbz. I would like to withhold the possibility for Ethan to like grow from this and get better. If he stays on the current track, the man's gonna have a heart attack or something. Like it's not gonna be good. And he seems to be pushing for some sort of grand climax. He wants to ruin somebody's life. I mean, that's what he said regarding Hassan. He wants him to have nothing, something along those lines. Ruin his life, and he has nothing. I don't remember the exact quote. And it's, it's just pure hatred, and hatred is not good for anybody on that level. The just constant negativity.
Even by like the most cynical, toxic people, it's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself. In terms of these fair weather friends who are, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say. Like you're the H3.
He's the one actively making demands and ultimatums of them and saying who they can and can't be friends with. Yeah, they do. Ethan does a lot of this projecting, and exactly what he's doing, he accuses others of.
Podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I was only ever being friends with you to get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years, and as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you and a lot of people who have been on the receiving.
And I like how he's covering it. I think he's covering it in a really thoughtful, respectful way. He isn't just blasting Ethan with hate. He's holding space for him. And he's just being honest. He's being very genuine. It's a good video so far.
Receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden
people don't need to sacrifice their views and their beliefs for your friendship. That's not how it works, buddy.
And it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
How much do you actually care? Isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes. You guys are just hurt and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's like me making this video is the standing up for something and it's saying, fuck you, you guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
So in Ethan's analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students and...
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well, and it's the same thing, to bring it back to the song just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous. He's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching for the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
but
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of.
It sounds like they're advocating for harassment. They're like, why aren't our friends helping us harass these little pieces of crap that dare to criticize us? God, these people are gross.
It speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is clean, they're they're actually good people, like that's gonna get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult and standing by your principles. That's the whole point.
Yeah, apparently tweeting about Ethan Klein's Giardia producing dog and his lack of ability to clean up dog shit in his house is similar in analogy to Ethan being a black kid and iDubbbz not standing up for him during the civil rights movement. I mean, you can't get any more delusional than this. This is like grandiose levels of delusion. We have left not only the atmosphere, but the solar system on this crazy thought process. Mental gymnastics.
That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan. Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here. Asmongold follows Frogan? No, Asmon! That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're gonna want to avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hassan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hassan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hassan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hassan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hassan on Instagram, so Hassan is in his feed.
And that's showing up right up on Anissa's and iDubbbz's feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hassan but are still anti-Ethan, but Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians.
Let's hear that one more time.
bitch-made coward supporting Hassan, it's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians. Coward supporting Hassan, it's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hassan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that, and I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just gonna tuck your tail between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up.
Damn. Ethan, you gotta say something now. Woo. iDubbbz is cutting deep with these burns. I mean, it's true. Where is Ethan? Ethan hasn't attacked Stavros. It's a very good point. And I'm sure that probably hurt iDubbbz. Why is iDubbbz doesn't get that level of respect? He feels iDubbbz is small enough for him to attack. That's messed up.
Some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream, you're not touching it. Fuck you, you're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier. His valuable association is Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although he's sniffing around.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome, and he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife, or in a video game. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic. And he interviewed a fucking, basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place, is because he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out of his way to attack, he thinks that they're weak, and he thinks they're a target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit, and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video.
I love it, iDubbbz. Don't take his shit. He's been getting away with it for too fucking long.
And you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
Yes.
There's no point.
Let's leave.
Yeah, there's no need.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Oh, shit. Like, how pathetic are you? Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I don't like pedophile. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach. You'll be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. Yes, please, I want to be.
This is the button, by the way. It gets pressed usually once or twice on average per show, and it's like a $10,000 live streaming device that allows them to have a whole 30-second lead going at all times on the show, so he can go back in time 30 seconds by hitting the button. He has to use it a lot because of the dumb shit that he says.
I'm a good Jew. Please, guys, please.
Yeah, I don't think it was that.
That was fine.
Big a deal. Of all the things that
Anywho.
it always surprises me what you think crosses the line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he can change his behavior, he spent $20,000.
Dan and Hila were like,
20,000. My bad, not 10,000. $20,000.
we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
He uses the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
What?
Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase goblin mode all the time to excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with goblin mode, actually.
By
Yeah, I made a post about him always interrupting and yelling at Olivia, and one of his defenders commented, "Oh, you clearly have only been watching Ethan for maybe a month. That's just how he talks." It's like, no, I've been watching him for 5 years, and the way he talks is the problem. That's what I'm calling out. The fact that he talks like that all the time is the problem. The fact that he feels comfortable being a douchebag to Olivia all the time is the problem. And to others, not just her.
Claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as goblin mode.
I do not call myself goblin mode.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's what you did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of goblin mode, I would like to issue an apology.
Was he really pretending in that moment? He really does use Tourette's as a sort of a get out of jail free card when he wants to. That's pretty disgusting.
You got goblin mode today. You're goblin mode. Look how many times you paused.
I'm trying, bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you patronize me, if you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying, not, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad. To be around Ethan, period, would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was a...
And if you watch the show, you can really tell that's true. Like, all of the crew members look like they've aged 10, 20 years. They all look depressed, sad, and Ethan always looks enraged and out of his mind.
Abhorrent. And by the way,
just don't listen. Your critique of her is correct. It's just people are sensitive about women being called that word, and so
like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming his pronouns. And fuck all these people. Go ahead.
No,
and I'm not yelling at you. I'm just... Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a...
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You're being such a buzzkill. Yeah, I didn't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POC. God.
You know, Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work and we listened to how he spoke to AB without thinking that the internet was going to hear it, it was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of like, I'm not mad at you. It was anger, and it was uncalled for.
Use, they get access to cover most of it.
We're doing it.
What are you
It's
doing?
so awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Just like, this is what I'm talking about when it's always like...
We need to get home for our kids.
It's like, bro.
Oh, no, I didn't want to finish it right now. I'm about finishing Wednesday.
Friday, maybe. Is it?
You guys, like...
All right, I'm taking my hand off the... What? Okay, well... I heard all that. Thanks, Button.
And he didn't want to take accountability for it. He immediately wanted to deflect, and he wanted to say that the button fucked him.
First of all, I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And I loved it, and I really enjoy it. But it's like every time we do it, it's like the show is what it is, and...
I know,
It makes...
And look at Hila's fake smile knowing they got busted. They got caught.
I was being selfish.
No, dude, that button me, dude. Can you imagine that button me over like that?
The button fucked you? AB fucked you? Who fucked you? You fucked yourself by being an asshole. He makes it seem like he's not a tyrant of a boss.
We're doing it.
What are you
It's
doing?
so awkward and terrible. I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And I loved it, and I really enjoy it.
Dan, his producer, is constantly clarifying things on the air and making it clear that what Ethan said was a joke, Ethan is being overly defensive, or he's saying things that are like not true and he's exaggerating.
People saw that. They thought that that was what you searched to
I did
pull
not
up that
type
photo. So I'm just clarifying.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate you doing that. God forbid.
It's okay because I buttoned it.
Why?
Because
it's not that big of a deal, man.
just
Like,
your
how
inability to.
No. Hold on, Dan. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
Well, you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay, all right.
You know, I understand that that's his role, and he's, you know, Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's made it his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily, in the same way that he leans on the button. Ethan is leaning on all of these people to be adults and look after his behavior and give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses to give it back to them. Also, let's talk about AB and Lena, two Lebanese employees, and you just continue to talk about the conflict like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much. All right, I'm gonna move on. I just want to play his song talking about bad empanada.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them.
Yeah, or get their perspective on it, being that their perspective should matter, should count. They have family from the region.
In this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin Mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like, I'm looking at like 20 Goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes Demon Mode different than Goblin Mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
Now you're the demon. You're the devil, Ethan. You hear that? You're the devil.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends, you have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad, you feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that
I don't know what else to say other than this is an amazing analysis. This is like, he's doing the job that, who's the guy that's very animated with his hands? Oh gosh, I should know his name, but he does the news, yeah, I should know his name.
that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power. You have a ton of options. You have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich, is you can do all of these things.
I'd never want to sue someone for defamation, but like at what point? Like, at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, you know, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
Pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite. There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that. Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that than anybody has about
based
Dream.
on his looks. Just on his based on his
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude that he is.
One of the more notable legal threats that Ethan has sent out recently is against Noah Samson.
I have nothing but vibes to gain and potentially your money.
And again, I don't know what else to say, but this guy is a pretentious, hypocritical joke. Everything he accuses others of doing, he is in fact the one doing it. He has no leg to stand on legally. He's an idiot. And I really hope he gets better, gets help soon. It's hard to know what else to say.
Money as well. Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages. You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. 26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video.
You sound like such a rich scumbag. Like you're a rich scumbag. Hopefully you don't stay rich, because you are the worst type of person to have money. You have turned into that guy.
Video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so fucking creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
Don't say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard, I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say, but
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Samson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Samson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents.
I mean, he's basically implying that a dude is a rapist live on air. Implies that people are pedophiles live on air. He triggers tons of harassment from his foot fungus soldiers, and he just never gets any sort of consequences for it. Someone has to stand up to this guy. He is turning into Trumponian, narcissistic Elon Musk type character. It's unfortunate, but money does do this to people a lot. Happens a lot.
Himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It's not motivated by myself. It's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
Seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to fucking tell you. This is like step one of having a leftist ideology, is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion you might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Cam.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch, though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking bitch. You're right. I call her a see you next Tuesday.
Listen, I'm curious, what do Lena and Sam think about it?
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's for the girlies, Ethan. But I
So
agree.
you guys all seem to be in consensus that it's in poor form. I think to respect the women here in the room, I'm going to have to pass on saying that.
The infantilization of Ethan Klein is fucking nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hassan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And for the first time I know...
I'm sorry, but he has never presented himself to be like you, Ethan. He was always trying to reach out and teach you, and you knew that. You knew that when you started the show. You would always, you know, allow him to sort of lead the conversation on the more technical aspects of politics, which is fine. It wasn't your area of expertise. But you weren't unaware of his politics. You weren't unaware that you were the, you know, sort of the mental underclass in that situation. It's not a big deal, but now all of a sudden he's a political expert when it comes to these Israeli politics.
Noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hassan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hassan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, what, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, oh, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments,
So true.
and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are, but you...
He knew. Come on, he knew.
Wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice. You did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews
except for when Ethan Klein says he's representing all Jews. Then one person does represent all Jews suddenly.
No single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel, this is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never, I don't believe that that's ever been stated. And I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like...
Oh, it absolutely has been stated. You dipshit. The government is constantly trying to tie in the religion with the state, and they have done it successfully. Most people, a lot of people, I will say, don't really differentiate the two.
I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, we
exclusively what they
displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, it's like he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention. There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Who...
Which is exactly what Ethan does. He does this thing constantly where he uses any of these attacks against the genocide, against the Israeli government as, but he's like, that might as well be that's anti-Semitism. It's like, no, dude, you're doing the exact thing that you say doesn't exist. But that's exactly what's happening. The state is intentionally integrating the religion and the physical government state.
Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun, and Ethan Klein saw that and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list them, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like a white guy who's like, "Can I say it? Is it a slur?" And then Love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like, that is That is a word that's used. Habibi. It means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your Habibi. So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it, because it's not like they have massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race, and nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's got to be at least a D, right?
Pale face motherfucker.
Pale face. I mean, again, I think that's an F. Hog.
So Hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hassan feel as though they're white guys, so they felt very comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like, I'm super white.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit on their tier list, Ethan? You're the white guy. You think you're more white than Hassan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like cracker, but the Arabs can't have their tier list.
I would put him also in Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they dropped the premise.
And I think this guy or this guy is Jewish too, I believe.
That's almost immediately.
So that really messes up his whole idea that this is a racist tier list. He didn't notice.
It's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like Hassan, okay, actually he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how like mixed Israeli culture is. Like,
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of...
If it's an anti-Semitic term, why are they say it in Israel? Why it must not... Oh my gosh.
Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic, you're just gonna eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times it's all that's in the store, and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna eat it, but it is not the good shit. Like the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the US. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking...
I made hummus a few times from scratch. Woo-wee. That is the way to go. That is delicious, and it's pretty easy to make.
Pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade like restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat this Sabra shit,
they literally all agree with it. This is so... The irony is so thick. It's unbelievable.
Just feels so much heavier. And imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah.
This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related to a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing. He can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions are anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology in Seattle, and Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know, he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score, a perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm the best at
10 out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You
He used it so much that Dan was even recalling it every time he brought it up. Dan must know so much about Ethan, like so many annoying details. He is definitely one of those bosses that just has, like, the fact that he clogs toilet with because he used to wipe with paper towels. That is so... Oh, that's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Who has the audacity to wipe their ass with a big, huge paper towel and then throw that in the toilet? And then for it to clog the toilet every single time, and you somehow don't learn from that. I remember when that came out, that was like the biggest topic on the subreddit for so long. Those were the days. Those were the good old days. But this is not a smart man we're dealing with.
fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10. This one is actually best apology, so. Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video.
He seriously gave himself an award for that at their own award show. I don't care if it's a bit, it's a joke. That is crossing the line. That is too pathetic.
Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit Psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying. And, you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander! Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10. I said, hey, Lud, no wig drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
Okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade, but that's okay because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system. So I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid, but I also think at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human because he is human and he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him, because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic.
This is gonna piss Ethan off more than anything else about this video. I'm gonna call it right now. This is gonna just set him off. The fact that they're being nice to him. And to a narcissist, this is the worst form of disrespect that you can give them. How dare you disrespect them by being nice to them? This will not stand. This will not stand.
Worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein, I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, you know, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
You know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil. I'm like, fuck, like, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, if that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up, a feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes, and then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would act extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
I don't know. I think that was a little before I started watching him, and I don't know what triggered that event or when he came to those realizations, but whatever that was, that is exactly what he's doing right now. That's exactly what's going on right now. So hopefully he comes to realization. Fantastic, emotional, heartfelt, hard-hitting, incredible video from Mr. iDubbbz, first content cop in a long time. Let's do a quick search of H3 just to see if they're live right. Oh yeah, and it's on the thumbnail. Oh god.
Again, it's like, bro, it's so played out. We literally, can I not, like, it's weird how they don't let you, like, you say something and then you immediately be like, I was wrong. But that's not okay.
No.
It's always like you have to live with this moment where you said something right before you apologize and you're like, oh, okay, I understand I was wrong about that.
50-50.
But that's not good enough. They're going to parade this clip around forever. Like, it's so fucking dishonest.
A really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people.
This bro literally just like cut out some headlines and he was like, see, Ethan's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's your fucking level of research, bro. This is the actual conversation. You're entering the Israel-Palestine conversation with that level of context. That's crazy.
He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome. Yeah, it's like they're all fucking dogpiling for the same dumb shit that you are now, too. It's not like they're random people, dude. These people are saying disgusting freak shit.
This guy that's on the screen, can we show his recent tweets?
Remember when he was laughing at Israeli civilians running in fear? Are you okay with that, Ian? Have you seen that? And are you okay with that? Apparently, even though he looks like
making the point that you're just picking fights with all these people. His point isn't to like analyze every single thing that every person has said. That's the point, you moron.
Millhouse, fucking dork. Denims, by the way. Okay, that's funny. He should include that. Was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking. And I'll say it, and I'll double down on it. And people, no,
And it's all culminated, at least.
You guys know how I feel about them. I don't need to say it.
So is Ian going to say anything? Because so far he's doing like the Philly D where it's like, well, so people on the internet are saying this.
Well, no,
Ethan said that, and they're saying that. Let me know in the comments what you think.
He is saying.
I don't know if I'm allowed to watch this.
He's saying he agrees with them, but he's just showing out of context.
He's not really, though. He's just doing like a YouTube essay.
Let's see.
My story. In Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned
bridges. I don't fucking care about any of these people. They're all a bunch of psychopaths. The dog piled on me. For what exactly? Once again, saying that I don't think that Israel should be annihilated. That
he lets it play for like 2 seconds.
I don't think that the borders should be immediately lifted. That I don't think that that would be a good solution. You know what I mean? Like. Okay.
The bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators.
Get some help?
Wow.
Like, who are you to like, are you actually serious right now?
Yes.
He's doing the get some help thing, which, by the way, he knows because I'm friends with him about like my struggles with mental health and what I've been through and how.
You're not friends with him.
How I've treated it and stuff. And like this whole
You've proven you're not a friend.
Get help thing. Like, holy shit, talk about fucking like gaslighting or crazy making. This is really pathetic stuff.
I told you.
He doesn't have many nice things to say.
Absolutely.
Is he going to say? What are they?
Maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship.
Really?
Challenge says let him talk for more than 5 seconds.
I won't speak for Ethan, Ian, but I don't know if you're watching this. I just have a feeling that that friendship's probably over for the foreseeable future.
Why are you?
But I appreciate your optimism.
For him?
You know.
That's so creepy.
My on the bright side.
This is painful. This is sad to watch. This is truly pathetic. Real quick, let's see what's going on. Is Hassan watching? Oh God.
Capabilities. So that's part of what we're doing. The other part is just knowledge. We want to know.
Someone said, is that 54? Is this it?
This.
Yeah, cancel culture, by the way. Exclusively a leftist idea, yet for some weird reason, Republicans love doing it and manufacturing outrage.
Yeah, there was
weird.
I don't know but Hassan basically was reacting to something, and he said jokingly that that America deserved. He said, "Fuck it, America deserved 9/11."
Yeah.
But then you went in to explain. By the way,
We clarified it literally immediately
Yes.
after. I was like,
But
I'm saying controversial. Exactly what we did.
But did you know you were
Armed with
fucked though when you said that, because you said in a video game afterwards?
No, because everyone was like, "Why did you say that? You're gonna get banned." So I was like, "What do you mean?" If you watch the entire video, I go, "Fuck it, dude, I'm saying it."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "How is anything I'm saying controversial? We literally armed the same groups and caused destabilization in the region, and then we're shocked when the very same people that we armed gave weapons to, gave training to, turned around and hit us back. Like, how is that in any way remotely controversial?
Right. I think that's a conversation that takes place all the time. I think it's just the way you said it. People were like, "Oh, here we go. We got this young Turk," and then you're associated with the Young Turks, who, by the way, Alex Jones calls the Young Turds.
Ela just laughs along. She has.
I love Alex Jones. He apparently did a broadcast of that.
I've got the video. I was hoping to watch it with you.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Like, I was so happy. I love Alex Jones. I mean, it's very unfortunate that due to our completely destroyed public education system.
So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way.
Oh yeah, this whole thing started, didn't it? When they made some joke about how I said, "Isn't that the gay one?" Because I was being silly. We talked about some court ruling.
Oh, yeah, I don't even remember.
And whatever.
Yeah, you guys can't even remember how it started.
Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this.
That's how it started.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism, and also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking
yeah. I mean, I thought it was insensitive.
Sometimes you gotta just throw something out there.
Oh yeah, do a burp. It's so edgy.
He kept the burp. Yeah, he went woke, but he kept the burps.
The left needed some burps, that's for sure.
You guys are lame.
Ethan busted, by the way, is still going on. Still at 50-50.
It's still at 50-50. I've been keeping an eye on that, and it's impressive. It's technically yes is winning, so it's 50.1 or something.
It's 50-50.
Yeah, but hey, nice, dude.
Dude, he looks pissed, bro.
This $30 donation from John C. This video is terrible, but Queen.
Murder half his
Not lose sight of the fact that even these losers didn't want to hang out with Mike from PA.
That is the best.
It jumped out to me right away. It really did.
Dude, he assembled the ensemble of like the anti-Zionist super team, right? And
oh, this is their one
Mike from PA is not here. It's fucking brilliant, dude. Couch puncher. Didn't make. Shut up, you impotent bit. I've got 3 kids. How are you gonna accuse me of being impotent? That's factually the worst.
So
I've got 3 kids, bro, and I got 9 male eggs.
So he's not really watching it. He's just moving to the going to the Twitter
lined
trenches.
I'm the king of shooting loads. You're browsing it chronically. You screenshot so many of our tweets. I'm gonna get them off Reddit, obviously, and you download folders. Might as
obviously
well be his Hassan tweet archive. Ethan has holes in his brain. He said, hold on. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, there's the real reason you got kicked off Twitter, buddy.
That's so weird. When I went to
which one are you looking for in particular?
I'll take any of them. I know there's a whole album of them out there.
What is he doing right now? This is insane.
Dictated that Israel was a nation for Jews, by Jews, and only for Jews. I'm paraphrasing. Every aspect of Zionism, from its inception, even though it was created by secular Jews, atheists that didn't give a fuck about Judaism at all, knowingly and willingly have entertained the notion that Israel is for the Jews, by the Jews, and it is for Judaism. It is in everything that Israel does. It is a false conflation. Why would you, on the one hand, adopt that framing? Yes, the law that I'm talking about is the basic law. Israel is a nation state of the Jewish people. This was quite controversial at the time. They were like, what? This is weird.
Okay, Hassan's getting deep into the weeds.
But
so that's probably going to be our check-in.
Why would you say this while also simultaneously claiming, well, all Jews are Zionists, so when you say Zionist, you mean Jew?
I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a place Jews can go, with that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go, like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
This is incredible levels of drama, folks. We are...
Of this guy's unhinged takes.
Twitter's a rat hole.
Oh, he is losing it in real time. His face is
Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the...
Hila Klein, how do you think you are morally above us when you're just judging people based on where they're from? Okay, first of all, Yoav Gallant is not a good guy. Palestinians don't learn to hate Jews at 2 years old, and you know all of that, you C-word. Don't recall you. Again, the Gallant thing is so stupid.
C-word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with...
Just learned 2 years before Ethan's dog's death, some of the H3 fans voiced concern for this chronic vomiting. It's talking about kidney failure, got shunned by fans. Ethan declined the advice, stayed course, kept giving him cheese. Now his dog's dead. And of course, the point of this was saying that he understands why people are worried about my kids, that they think my kids are in danger. Clearly missing some context there.
With cheddar
this was
cheese.
after CPS was called, probably, right?
I don't remember. I think it was leading up to it, actually, which makes it not any better. It was part
No,
of
this is after CPS was
Oh, this
called.
is after. Well, that makes it just unhinged
this
as
is
fuck.
more of like, here is why we're concerned, you guys.
Bro, you're missing some serious context.
Yeah.
If it's going to be like, I got CPS to my house, and your friend is saying, hey, this
Here's
just
why.
a attack. Because we have the determination, the resolve, and the capabilities to fight. Well, we have a price to pay, yes, and we are ready to pay it. By the way, that price being all the fucking civilians that are dying there. They knew the price, and they were, again, as he says, okay with it. I mean, it was part of their war plan. We are called a nation of...
I don't know what this clip is or how it's supposed to defend him against anything iDubbbz was saying. Wow, that's juicy, folks. That's really juicy stuff. Let's move along to the Trump stuff. We need to cover that. The gentleman Abrego Garcia is still being held in El Salvador. A U.S. judge presses Trump administration on its refusal to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Greenbelt, Maryland. A federal judge said Tuesday that she will order sworn testimony by Trump administration officials to determine if they complied with her orders to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was mistakenly deported to a notorious El Salvador prison. U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes in Maryland issued her order after Trump officials continually refused to retrieve Abrego Garcia. She said they defied a clear Supreme Court order. She also downplayed Monday's comments by White House officials and El Salvador's president that they were unable to bring back Abrego Garcia, describing their statements as two very misguided ships passing in the night. The Supreme Court has spoken, Zinnes said, adding that what was said in the Oval Office on Monday is not before the court. In her written order published Tuesday evening, Zinnes called for the testimony of 4 Trump administration officials who work for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Department of Homeland Security and the State Department. If you think about it, Trump could just have these people disobey the law all the way till the end, and even if they get federally charged, he could just pardon them. I mean, I think that's where we're at. I think we're going to be in a constitutional crisis this entire administration. This is a picture of him. She expects the process to last about 2 weeks. Zinnes wrote that Trump administration officials have done nothing at all toward returning Abrego Garcia, but she wrote they remain obligated at a minimum to take the steps available to them toward aiding, assisting, and making easier Abrego Garcia's release. The hearing came a day after White House advisors repeated the claim that they lacked the authority to bring back the Salvadoran national from his native country. The president of El Salvador also said Monday that he would not return Abrego Garcia, likening it to smuggling a terrorist into the United States. Abrego Garcia's deportation has become a flashpoint as President Donald Trump follows up on campaign promises of mass deportations, including to an El Salvador prison. Following Tuesday's hearing, a crowd outside the federal courthouse in Maryland chanted, "What do we want? Due process. When do we want it? Now." An attorney for Abrego Garcia said contempt proceedings could be the logical next step after the fact-finding phase. "This is still a win, and this is still progress," Rina Gandhi said. "We're not done yet, though." Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer Vasquez Sura, said shortly before Tuesday's hearing that he was working hard to achieve the American dream for his family. That dream was shattered on March 12th when he was abducted and disappeared by the United States government in front of our 5-year-old child, she said. Today is 34 days after his disappearance. I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Meanwhile, Democratic U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland said he'll travel to El Salvador on Wednesday. "My hope is to visit Kilmar and check on his well-being and to hold constructive conversations with government officials around his release," Van Hollen said. Abrego Garcia, 29, lived in the U.S. for roughly 14 years, during which he worked construction, got married, and was raising 3 children with disabilities, according to court records. A U.S. immigration judge had shielded Abrego Garcia from deportation to El Salvador in 2019, ruling that he would likely face persecution there by local gangs that had terrorized his family. He also was given a federal permit to work in the United States, where he was a metal worker and union member, according to Abrego Garcia's lawyers. So he's legally in the United States, legally has paperwork, legally has documentation, has a work permit. He has his paperwork. But we knew all along that people weren't going to ultimately care about that. They just want people of different races, other than white, out of the country. We shouldn't be surprised, a little bit surprised at how fast we're getting to this point, at this breakneck speed, but probably shouldn't have been surprised by that either. The Trump administration expelled Abrego Garcia to El Salvador last month anyway. Administration officials later described the mistake as an administrative error, but insisted that Abrego Garcia was a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrego Garcia was never charged with a crime and has denied the allegations. His attorneys have pointed out the criminal informant claimed he was a member of MS-13 in Long Island, New York, where he has never even lived. Let's see if it brings up. So this confidential informant was also just arrested for lying in another case, by the way. So it sounds like this was an obvious lie from this, and again, he was never convicted of anything. This is just a statement that somebody made, and it turns out that they was not made by a credible individual. Abrego Garcia was never charged with a crime, and he's denied the allegations. His attorneys have pointed out that the criminal informant claimed he was a member of MS-13 in Long Island, New York, where he has never lived. Zenas had ordered the Trump administration in early April to bring Abrego Garcia back, and the U.S. Supreme Court agreed last week that the U.S. government must facilitate Abrego Garcia's release. But the White House has balked at trying to broker his return, arguing the courts can't intrude on the president's diplomacy powers. Zenas ordered the U.S. on Friday to provide daily status updates on plans to return Abrego Garcia. The Trump administration responded the next day, saying he was alive in the El Salvador prison. but it has only doubled down on its decision not to tell a federal court whether it has any plans to repatriate Abrego Garcia. In a filing Tuesday afternoon, Trump administration attorneys said the government is prepared to facilitate his return. And the sad part is, too, is like, first of all, unfortunately, I think it's now that this has become like a political flashpoint, a political issue, he's probably not going to come back. They're going to fight tooth and nail. And like the bottom line is El Salvador is a sovereign country, and he is technically a citizen there. So if Trump's telling them not to send him back, they're not going to send him back. That's the bottom line of that. There's nothing, you know, even if the Supreme Court holds people in contempt, they probably can't hold Trump in contempt. So it'll be some other people that Trump can just get out of jail with if it's a federal case, he could just pardon them out. Yeah, this is, but not only, you know, now that it's so, and even if he could come back, he would be forever labeled by the political right as a gang member terrorist, and he would suffer, you know, horrible persecution, death threats daily, all of it, even if he could come back. So they've effectively ruined his life at this point. And he should, you know, if he had some amazing attorney and we lived in a just system, he should be able to sue for so much money. Anyways, Abrego Garcia's lawyers rejected the idea that the U.S. lacks the authority to retrieve him. They noted that the U.S. is paying El Salvador to hold prisoners, including Abrego Garcia, and can exercise those same contractual rights to request their release. Yes, they can. They could, but they're not going to. This is now a political issue. Well, not that it wasn't before, but now it's, you know, even he got sent on an error, and now they're gonna act, they gotta pretend like it was not an accident. So they gotta stick with their story that he's a gang member and all that. I mean, it could turn around, but I highly doubt it at this point. I think they're gonna stick with their game plan to keep him there, which is horrible. He's got disabled children that are now gonna get raised without him. It's just so terrible. Bukele, and it's just a political pawn to them. They don't care about his life and the pain that they're causing to him, his wife, his children, the hell that he's going through right now in this prison for what reason? Just because he's an immigrant? Not because he did anything to deserve it. It's just, and our society cheers it on. It's just absolutely disgusts me. Not all of our society. A lot of people are disgusted, so I should take pride in those people at least that do think this is horrible. They struck a deal under which the U.S. will pay about $6 million for El Salvador to imprison Venezuelan immigrants for a year. Trump has said openly that he would also favor El Salvador taking custody of American citizens who have committed violent crimes, which is likely illegal. Yeah, to house American citizens in El Salvador? Jesus. This man is insane, I tell you. He's insane. Let's go to Pam Bondi and what her, she's a very lovely person, as you can tell. Looking for it. Here it is.
He is an illegal alien who has been living illegally in our country from El Salvador. ICE testified, an immigration judge ruled he was a member of MS-13, an appellate judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. Hard stop. He should not be in our country. He was deported. They needed one.
No, excuse me, miss. It was actually a confidential informant who has been proven to be a liar, and I believe is in jail for lying in another case that just happened.
One additional step in paperwork, but now MS-13 is characterized as they should be, as an FTO, as a foreign terrorist organization. So he is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If
this girl over on this side, she looks like she's in a daze. She's scary. She scares me.
If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None. He would have come back, had one extra step of paperwork, and gone back again. But he's from El Salvador, he's in El Salvador, and that's where the president plans on keeping him.
She is scary, I have to say. She seems like a Terminator robot that has been programmed, and she's like an ice killer robot. I don't know, man. That's scary as heck. I'll tell you what, that is scary. Just going through the video coverage of this.
A federal judge is calling out the Trump administration for not complying with her order to facilitate the return of Kilmer Abrego Garcia to the U.S. after he was mistakenly deported. Judge Paula Sinise said there will be, quote, no tolerance for gamesmanship or grandstanding, and she says she expects all hands on deck. After yesterday's hearing, Garcia's wife pleaded for justice.
And I pray that the same community strength that has lifted me flows through those judges supporting her to bend the power towards justice. Kilmer needs to come home, and it's time we see how exact this will be fulfilled.
CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman joins me here in Studio 57 with the latest on this. You've been following every twist and turn of this trial. Katrina, good morning to you. In what ways was yesterday's hearing an escalation?
Good morning, Errol. So the judge has made it clear that she wants to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. She even told the government's lawyers that they should cancel their vacations. She has ordered discovery, and she's allowing depositions to start. 4 officials, some of them ICE officials, are going to be deposed. And she has set a very quick timeline for this, too, because she says that every day that Mr. Abrego Garcia is in this prison in El Salvador is causing him irreparable harm. She is not yet taking this to the level of holding the government lawyers in contempt or officials from the government, but we could reach that point if they don't comply with her orders, Errol.
And if we think back to President Trump with El Salvador's president speaking about this case, they both sounded defiant and as if his return would not happen at all. So if this judge holds Trump officials or the DOJ in contempt, what does that mean? I mean, could this be a constitutional crisis?
I mean, that's the question, really the phrase that we keep hearing, Errol, and we're going to see where this case escalates.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is it's up to the El Salvador if they want to let him come back, and then that ultimately is up to Trump, who right now it's a big no.
Escalates to. There are options here. She could sanction officials. For example, she could sanction Secretary Kristi Noem if they don't comply. We could even see her take.
As long as they can keep the general public, like the right wing, their base, convinced that he is part of MS-13, that he's a gang member, he's a terrorist, as long as they can keep him convinced of that, he's not coming back.
Steps maybe to try to avoid that, where she begins to refer lawyers for potential disbarment on these cases. So there are potential actions that we could see her take, but We are absolutely seeing this battle between the judiciary and the executive branch come to a head, whether or not they're going to comply with what she's asking for, because there has just been this total defiance from President Trump. And we saw the other day, President Bukele.
Democrats are pouncing on this. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen actually traveling to El Salvador. What might that Democrat and others accomplish?
So he just posted this morning from Dulles Airport, and he's saying that what he hopes is he hopes he'll get the chance to see Kilmar Abrego Garcia, to check on his condition, to let him know that people are fighting for his return. And he also hopes that he'll get to meet with officials in El Salvador. It doesn't sound like any of that is definitive yet. My understanding.
I'm pretty sure he went and he just got totally rejected by everybody. I have to double check, but I saw him doing a press conference, and I'm pretty sure I heard him say, he asked if he could see him. They said no. He said if I came back next week, would I be allowed to see him? They said no, we can't even arrange that. They said only if the U.S. Embassy said something to them or wanted to facilitate something, then maybe something could happen. Which, again, that would probably take political pressure from Congress or something. I don't know how that would work, but it's not looking good.
Is that he has asked for a meeting with President Bukele, but he is going down to check on Mr. Abrego Garcia and see what he can do to help with these negotiations.
Fascinating to watch this all unfold. Katrina, thank you so much.
Thank you, Errol.
Let's jump over to Natalie Brand at the White House for more on the Trump administration.
It's not fascinating, it's fascist-nating. This is not fascinating at all. It's fascist. Fascist hating is what we're doing.
Administration's response. Natalie, good morning to you. How is the White House responding to this judge's comments?
Good morning, Errol. Well, what we saw yesterday is administration officials continuing to call Abrego Garcia a criminal without giving evidence. They also allege, that he has ties to.
He hasn't been convicted of anything. The alleged ties to MS-13 are total BS and are based on a confidential informant that's been caught and convicted, I believe, of lying in another case, which is probably how they get a lot of these convictions on different people, is lying, having confidential informants that their job is just lie, but who I'm not claiming to know, but this one they know, and it's also based on him being out of New York where he has never lived, so that they already know it's BS.
The MS-13 gang based on allegations from a confidential informant based on his past court case. But keep in mind, there have been no convictions in the United States, and the administration still has not provided, reporters or the public with a lot of evidence about why they allege that. This is something that his family and attorney disputes. And, while the administration says it's up to El Salvador to release him and that they would then facilitate, meaning provide a plane to bring him back. In a court filing ahead of yesterday's hearing, the DHS General Counsel said that if he were to arrive back at a port of entry, he would be detained in the United States and then deported to another country separate from El Salvador, where that earlier court ruling said he could not return for fear of his safety, or that he would be detained pending the administration trying to remove that earlier ruling that gave him that withholding status, saying that he could not be deported to El Salvador. That would require his immigration case being reopened. So really the administration here digging in, saying that even if he were to return, he would likely face another deportation.
We'll keep watching that closely. I want to ask you about another development.
No, he had been approved he'd been here for like over 5 years on an approved work visa, 3 children, married. He was not in danger of going anywhere. It wasn't until this administration decided to start expanding their net to people that weren't even illegal immigrants
Development fresh this morning.
It probably turns out there's not as many illegal immigrants here as they think there is.
President Trump supposed to meet with a negotiator from Japan today to discuss tariffs. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we knew that the chief negotiator from Japan was visiting the United States to meet with the Treasury Secretary and other officials regarding these ongoing trade and tariff negotiations. But just this morning, the president himself tweeted that Japan is coming today to negotiate tariffs and the cost, he says, of military support. He says that he will.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's not going to help with the one where we have most of the tariffs, which is China. Okay, moving along, the other really kind of nasty thing, kind of icky thing was Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene and the fact that she has to have a bunch of cops at her town hall meetings because there's so many people there that hate her. I think this was... I have a couple clips before it gets into, like, what happened with the police. And it's funny because she's just used to it. She just knows anywhere she goes in public, most people hate her. So she's almost, like, used to getting hate and responding to it. That's why she doesn't even take... it's not even a real town hall because she doesn't take questions from the crowd. She reads pre-approved questions from the screen. That way she can already have her responses thought out, figured out something clever to own the libs, of course, because everything she does is theatrics, in my opinion.
What can Congress do to rein in the hate and lies other elected officials are spewing that endanger the lives of innocent people? Rep. Crockett is one example. Those inciting the vandalism and domestic terrorism against Tesla and Tesla owners are another example. Kathleen, thank you for that question. And I first want to start with recognizing Governor Shapiro and his family and say that I truly pray for them. And it was shocking to see that attack of arson on the governor's mansion. And I completely denounce that type of political violence. I denounce all political violence. Now, I can tell you that because I also live in a place where I am one of the members of Congress that usually has the highest amount of death threats. As a matter of fact...
His side says jail for inside traders. This is, of course, referring to her stock trades that she did right before Trump lifted a bunch of tariffs last week. Very convenient timing for Miss Taylor Greene.
As a matter of fact, there's an active death threat that Capitol Police have been dealing with on me, but this is a routine thing that happens. And Capitol Police does a great job. So does the FBI, and so does all of my local law.
Yeah, you think AOC and Ilhan Omar don't have death threats on them?
Law enforcement. I'm very thankful for them. Now, thank you.
And I need about 100 of them at my town halls. Thank you.
So I can't.
I need about 100 of them to hold back the pitchforks from stabbing me.
I can't control anyone else that I serve with in Congress, but I can tell you my stance is no one should be calling and threatening our staff. I don't care, Democrats or Republicans. No one should be cussing at them, telling them they're going to kill them, because my staff gets death threats too. The same, you know, when I get them. And that just shouldn't happen. And again, I'll just say this. We have bigger problems in America. We really do. Problems that should bring us together as Americans and not divide us to the point where they're talking about killing people. Let's just remember this, that it has not been a year. It hasn't been a year since President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. Almost assassinated on the world stage for everyone to see. Hasn't even been a year. I would hope, and you know, here's another thing that I can't let go is the poll that I saw where over half of Democrats support assassinating President Trump. That is...
What poll is that? Where do you get these polls from? What? Let's do the reverse on Biden. Let's see how many, I mean, the Trumpers where I'm from, they fly flags that say F Biden. You don't see that for Trump. So I'm just wondering, you know, what the general sentiment would be if it's half. That would be, you know, that's just a question I don't think you should ask. You don't want to know the answer.
That is absolutely disgusting and shameful. And if it doesn't matter who the president is, no one should support assassinating the president. You know what you do? You vote. You want to change your leaders, you vote. And that's how America should.
And if that don't work, you lie about the votes and you say you won the votes anyways, even if you lost them.
Handle it.
Easy peasy. Okay, so that was one of the peaceful moments. Here's where I think she tries to pull a gotcha. Oh, this is 53 minutes. We're not watching all this. Let's watch it
to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers. They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. And by the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive...
Guess that's how it starts. It just kind of cuts off like that.
On the political spectrum, together we're in debt at $36 trillion. $36 trillion is no laughing matter. This is something.
Again, that's not the actual debt. That is the federal deficit is the amount of money that's been produced in our fiat system. So that's the money that flows in a circuit, like in a loop in our economy, right? It flows. It gets used down by the, say, like your typical consumer. It gets spent at a small business, medium-sized business, large-sized business. Then that goes to pay for, that money then goes to pay for either expenses, or which could be salaries, or it could be resources that the business consumes, or it can go to profit. And then that profit could then go to CEOs, and then it can end up sitting in stock markets, or it can sit in a lot of different places generating interest. Or if it goes the other route and it gets spent on resources or salary, it then goes back down, flows back down through the system, right? It gets spent on resources, and that goes to another business, which pays for another salary or another resource, which then eventually it goes to a salary of another person, and then that person spends it back into the economy on another good or service, which then pays for another resource or salary for another business. That's all good. That keeps the money flowing from top to bottom and then back up again. The problem is when you have never-ending profits and you don't have a good system in place to redistribute those profits, then more and more money gets concentrated in the profits, and then the government or whoever's in charge of the fiat money system has to print more money into circulation in order to have money to spend through the economy. That's when, if you have to do that at too fast of a rate, that's when the deficit could matter. That's when inflation can become a problem. So really, you just have to manage that flow of money and make sure money's able to flow in a circle from top to bottom in the economy. So you do that through a progressive tax system. That's the best way to do it. It's the easiest way to do it. And if you have a efficient progressive tax system, it prevents money from accumulating at the top. I don't want to watch this video. Let's watch the highlights, right? We want to get to the crazy parts. Crazy parts.
Minutes into that town hall, when the Republican Congresswoman stepped on the stage, police had to forcibly remove a man from the town hall. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she warned the crowd no protesting was allowed inside the venue. By the end of the night, police escorted more than a dozen people.
They needed like 10 cops for one dude.
People out. They tased and arrested one man who ignored orders to leave. Two others were also charged with disorderly.
Hey, that guy was definitely manhandling the cop, though, for sure. And it's like, that tells you who has the energy, who has the real, like, you know, that man has so much hatred for the government flowing through his system right now that he can just grab that cop who represents the government in that moment and just hold him like it's nothing. And, you know, I'm not advocating violence or anything like that. Never use violence. But you can see the how upset people are with this political system that we have right now.
Conduct. Now outside, protesters, they rallied. Some we spoke to say they weren't allowed inside that town hall, although they lived in the Republican Congresswoman's district. Meanwhile,
you look a little too libbed up. You ain't getting into no Marjorie Taylor Greene presentation, man. You look way too lib.
Inside, as the town hall was able to proceed, Greene, she took questions that was pre-screened and collected by her staff from the audience. She said that it was much easier than reading handwritten cards in real time, a method she says that she's used before. Now, Greene said the purpose of this town hall was to have a face-to-face meeting with voters. Ackworth is a new part of her district, and she said she wanted to use that moment to introduce herself to her new constituents. We did ask Greene what was her reaction to all the disruption and chaos that unfolded during her town hall.
So did she switch districts? Is that what they said? New constituents. So
I'll take a listen.
Shouldn't be that way. America overwhelmingly voted.
I wonder if they're having to, oh God, she is so hideous. I wonder if they're having to gerrymander districts for her to win. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how anybody can stand her. Even anybody, like, her district has to have those extreme MAGA people that are just totally cult-like.
In November for President Trump, Republican control of the House and the Senate, and how people should handle their businesses in the voting booth. There's no reason for screaming, yelling, ridiculous, outrageous protesting. That disrupts the entire event for every single person that is there.
The idea is to disrupt. I know you don't like that. That's also part of the idea. You're not supposed to like it. But we are trying to disrupt everything you're doing. Everything you're doing. Your entire agenda.
Now, city officials with the city of Ackworth, they say that the attendees, they were pre-screened to ensure that everyone in attendance at this town hall lived within Marjorie Taylor.
She pre-screened the questions and the attendees. Damn. And they still had several arrests. 2 or 3 people got tased. That's pretty incredible.
Green's district. Meanwhile, one of the individuals that was arrested, that person did not live in the Congresswoman's district. Reporting live from the Cobb County Jail, I'm Ariana Manise for 11 Alive. Back to you.
Ariana, thank you so much.
I think this is some of the tasings that occurred.
Protesters tackled and tased, roughed up, and ejected at a Georgia town hall meeting tonight held by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump. And in Iowa, Senator Chuck Grassley facing tough questions about tariffs and illegal.
And he should be getting tough questions about his age, too. This man, why isn't he retired? These people are rich. They should be retired. Get rid of these old people. He can barely stand there and take questions. There's no way he could ever stand up to Trump or anyone else. Not that he has any intentions of doing that, but we can't keep having these 90-year-old men running our government.
Legal deportations. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher here now with the new video and the story tonight. Michelle.
Mark, it's been exactly 1 month since the accidental deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That was back on March 15th. And across the country, concerned citizens are asking what this means for due process, as lawmakers, including a representative from California, are now preparing to go to El Salvador themselves.
You're going to bring that guy back from El Salvador? Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Supreme Court said to bring him back.
A demand for answers tonight as accidental deportee Kilmar Abrego Garcia remains behind bars in El Salvador. This despite a Supreme Court order that the Trump administration facilitate his return.
Every person within the jurisdiction of the United States has due process.
A heated town hall in Fort Madison, Iowa, hosted by Republican Senator Chuck Grassley. And this chaotic takedown at Marjorie Taylor Greene's town hall in Ackworth, Georgia. Police tasing a man who tried to re-enter after he was ordered to leave for shouting.
I did get a little bit scared when I saw they tased that guy at the beginning, just for, having his opinion, being able to say, his free speech.
Calls for Abrego Garcia's return only growing louder daily. His wife, an American, with this plea outside federal court.
I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive.
Justice Department lawyers saying the administration is prepared to facilitate Abrego Garcia's presence in the U.S. if he presents at a port of entry. But El Salvador's president yesterday indicating he's unwilling to help.
I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
29-year-old Abrego Garcia is a father of 3 with no criminal record here or in El Salvador. A federal judge saying the Trump administration has shown no evidence to support claims he's a MS-13 gang member. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen says he is flying to El Salvador tomorrow morning.
Basically, it's like the Philippines, where they were basically saying anyone that was a drug dealer, they're guilty. Now, they were just killing them on the spot, but this is a little different, disappearing them to a concentration camp. But if we don't ever hear or see from them again, I don't know if it's all that different.
To check on Abrego Garcia and see about his return. Meantime, California Representative Robert Garcia wrote a letter today asking the House Oversight Committee to send a congressional delegation there as well. Mark?
Michelle Fisher, thank you.
Getting pretty intense, and we have it in the media to both sides are claiming a victory at the Supreme Court, and see, this is more from the Marjorie Taylor Greene town hall right here.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
He grabbed me.
Yes. Don't do this.
He grabbed him. He certainly grabbed him back. don't care if it had to be done or not, but that's gross that the crowd is cheering over that. Anybody that isn't trying to stand up to this administration and what they're doing by disappearing people to concentration camps in El Salvador, and Trump is asking him to build more prisons so he can send U.S. citizens there as well. A lot of people are pissed, and a lot more people are going to be pissed too. This is just the beginning. I find it very telling that Marjorie Taylor Greene needs about 100 cops just to hold a town hall. She's very clearly loved by the people, right? Clearly loved by all.
Peaceful town hall. Now, this is a peaceful town hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, sure.
This should not have to happen. Well, welcome everyone.
Stop. Are you really doing this? Stop. Are you really doing this? Really?
Jeez.
Thank you. What is that, the illegal alien?
Is that the illegal alien? He's black. Is that the illegal alien? God, she is so cringe. Hearing her talk is like nails on a chalkboard.
That's an illegal alien. So you can see Democrats support.
Ugh. So clearly, Marjorie Taylor Greene, loved by all, cherished by all Americans, very clearly. What else? This was kind of, this was Senator, Van Hollen in El Salvador, but I don't think anything came from that. Wait, is this the one we already watched? Nothing came from that, so that's just depressing. I'm not gonna watch that. I think that's all I have for today. Let's check in real quick.
Of martyrs, and we are proud to sacrifice martyrs. I mean, listen to this guy. He's saying he wants to fight. Because you are following someone on Twitter, bro. It's because this is someone that you guys are friends with, somebody that I saw you guys interacting with his tweets at the same time he was tweeting that stuff. I saw Anissa in Denham's chat yucking it up with her while this was happening. This isn't just one fucking, this isn't just because you follow Froggy, I don't know, with one of the frogs.
One of the frogs.
You know,
And
like what a stupid retelling of what it is. I'm upset
Anissa was
about.
in the DMs of Millhouse, who is like the most unhinged.
Yeah. That's so, yeah, there's so much that he's missing.
Yeah.
She was in the yeah. Millhouse, who was giddy with excitement as he watched Israelis scream in terror.
He did say it was fucked up that people called CPS on you, though.
Well, that's a hard. I mean, you know what? That's again.
Well,
thank you to him.
You credited Hassan with that earlier.
Yeah, no,
just
big
Millhouse too.
Big and brave take from Millhouse there on that one.
You know,
it is.
We take those. We
You're
take
right.
those.
Take the dubs where I get them.
We take the dubs.
Me and
Until I
Millhouse.
saw his tweets about all Israelis. I don't know if.
Right. No, I understand. I'm
Yeah.
just.
Let's see here.
Yeah,
oh, here we go. This
so
is a helpful guide.
Doesn't sound like they're gonna get.
Froggy Tonic. This is
right.
This is the commie LARPer who who hates Israelis. Okay.
Okay.
This is Froggy Fresh, who got dropped from Creator Clash after having a dispute with Anissa and iDubbbz.
Over Sam.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He's just deflecting further, incapable of any sort of self-reflection. Surprised he is watching more of the video. I'll give him credit for that. But it doesn't sound like he's able to sort of take any of it with a grace or even any good faith. He probably won't make it through the whole thing and see the ending where they put a lot of effort into trying to be nice to Ethan. Doubt that's going to happen. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Not expecting progress out of this, but great video from iDubbbz. Once again, go like, go subscribe. I have to give it up. Great to see Content Cop back. And since Ethan isn't going to learn, then I'm just going to take joy in seeing how absolutely pissed and enraged he is. Love to see it. It's pretty awesome. And AB is soon going to be fighting at the Creator Clash, so that's pretty cool. All right, that's going to end it for me tonight. Everybody have yourself a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of your week. Hope the second half was as great as the first half, and if the first half was crappy, I hope it's better than the first half. Hey, all right, bye-bye.